There are a slew of Galaxy S20 leaks that have been happening just a few weeks before the event that's happening in San Francisco, Unpacked 2020, where we should be seeing the Galaxy S20. In this video, I really want to talk about the three things that you're really going to focus on when it comes to this phone. That's going to be the camera, the display, and the battery. But before we dive into the specs, let's kind of do the naming convention here and how last year's S10 devices are going to match up to this year's S20 devices in terms of models. So the Galaxy S10e from last year is now going to be just the Galaxy S20. The S10 Plus from last year will now be just the S20, and the S10 Plus from last year will now be the S20 Ultra. Very interesting name with Ultra. I think that's supposed to sort of match the Pro Max sort of naming that Apple has sort of done. So from Max to Ultra, you kind of get the idea there. So we're getting a whole new camera setup here with the brand new S20, with the S20 and S20 Plus that are gonna have 12 megapixel main wide cameras with a new telephoto camera that's gonna be at 64 megapixels, which is pretty cool. It's gonna have a 3x optical zoom with a 30x digital zoom to go along with that. It's also with the S20 Plus, they're gonna have a TOF, a time of flight sensor kind of on that one, which is pretty nice. But what's interesting is with the S20 Ultra, that's going to pretty much get the same sensors tweaked just a little bit differently. The S20 Ultra is going to get a massive 108 megapixel main wide sensor along with a 48 megapixel telephoto sensor. Now that sensor is going to be able to do 10x optical zoom and rumored to do 100x digital zoom, which they're going to brand on that particular camera, and it's basically going to be called Space Zoom, essentially is what they're kind of give that moniker with it. It's really cool, honestly, to see them focus on telephoto here, and that's something that Pixel focused on last year, and now we're seeing sort of now this year's flagship phone sort of step up and sort of give a focus on telephoto, because people do zoom in a lot more often, I feel, than use the ultra wide. But I'm also happy that the ultra wide is still going to be on this camera here with the S20. Now all three devices will sport the punch hole style design for the front-facing camera, with the S20 and S20 Plus having a 10 megapixel front-facing camera on it, capable of 4K video recording. But the S20 Ultra is gonna have a whopping 40 megapixel wide sensor for the front-facing camera. That's going to make portrait mode probably pretty impressive on here. I'm really excited to see all three of them do, but specifically the S20 Ultra, because that creates some really epic portrait mode shots that I'm really excited to see how well it's going to be able to do it. Now let's stick to the front of the devices and talk about displays. They're going to show up on all three of these. They're pretty much going to have all the same display technology with Infinity O AMOLED displays. They're going to have WQHD plus resolution and a new 20:9 aspect ratio. Now the S20 is going to have about a 6.2 inch display, while the S20 Plus is going to have 6.7, and the S20 Ultra is going to have a 6.9 inch display, pretty much the same display size as the Note 10, literally 7 inches, which is just crazy to have on a device. Now the big deal about these displays across the board is that all of them are going to have 120 hertz refresh rate, which should be awesome for those that are really looking to game on the S20. And also it's gonna create a very nice, buttery, smooth experience when you're navigating inside the UI and just using the phone in general. Now, there is one caveat to using 120 hertz. It's pretty much only going to be available when you have the device in 1080p, which that just kind of makes sense, probably from a battery life perspective, to just kind of preserve that. That's gonna be fine, I feel, for most people. So, and I bet you at default, the phones are probably going to come at 1080p with 120 hertz refresh rate already turned on from the beginning. So most people probably won't go all the way up to the QHD plus resolution, but you probably won't really need that because most content you're probably viewing on your phone is going to be in 1080p for the most part. Now inside these displays, we should see the brand new fingerprint sensor coming from Qualcomm, which is the new 3D Sonic Max. Now what the advantages of the new fingerprint sensor is going to have is that it's going to have a larger area to be able to scan your finger with, and you're also going to have the ability to scan with 2 fingers at the same time, and it's going to be more secure. It shouldn't have the hiccups that were happening sort of the last time that they had to send out an update for. That's pretty cool to be able to use a couple of fingers to even make your device even more secure. Now let's talk about batteries. The S20 is expected to have a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, while the S20 Plus is going to be about a 4,500 milliamp hour battery. And the S20 Ultra, the big boy, is expected to have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. That kind of makes sense to have these larger battery capacities because, as we'll talk about a little bit later, these are all going to be 5G ready. I'm hoping that the new super fast charging is going to be available on all of these devices that we saw on the Galaxy Note 10 Plus show up. I'm hoping that we really do get advancements in those speeds to charge these devices a whole lot faster. And these should be all-day goers considering the battery life capabilities that they have on it here in terms of the capacity. Now let's get into some of the other specs here. We should see in the US a Snapdragon 865 processor that was announced at the end of last year. That's Qualcomm's latest processor that is going to be 5G ready as well too, which should make these devices, at least in the US, all 5G capable, which would be a pretty big deal in kind of getting 5G sort of pushed out there a little bit more. I would expect in other countries, in Europe and other places, we're probably going to see the Exynos 990 processor instead. And the RAM should be between 12 to 16 gigabytes, with the S20 Ultra probably getting 16 gigabytes in terms of RAM there with that. Now, in terms of storage, they're all going to come with a base of 128 gigabytes of base storage. The S20 Ultra will have a 512 gigabyte option. All devices will come with a micro SD card slot, so you can expand that up to 1 terabyte more of storage. That's pretty cool to see that. Even with all that, the unfortunate thing is that we will not have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack on any of these devices. The only thing that I'm hoping Samsung does this time is include an adapter. I was really kind of bothered with the Note 10 that they did not include a headphone adapter, USB-C to 3.5 millimeter. I think that should have been included inside of there. It would have made the transition much easier. And Samsung hopefully does that here with the S20 and provides that adapter. I understand giving headphones to the USB-C, but a lot of people want to use what they currently have. Give them time to adjust. So put a 3.5 millimeter adapter inside of here, Samsung. I really think it's quite honestly needs to be a requirement in here to make sure the S20 is going to be very successful. So what I want to know now is, which Galaxy S20 are you interested in and why? Share your comments below. Let me know what you think. Not only tell me which one you want, but the reason that you would want that one, and maybe the reasons you wouldn't want the other one. I mean, these are very, very powerful devices, and Samsung's really coming out with a bang here, and they kind of need to. The S10 was an awesome device, don't get me wrong here, but Apple really did well with the iPhone 11. It got a lot of great praise from here, and they really came up with a great device with the 11 and the 11 Pro. So Samsung's really got a counterpunch here in the S20 from a specs perspective of what we see right now, which are still leaks and rumors. We have to say that right now, because we're not gonna get final confirmation until the Unpacked event. But it's looking like this is gonna be a great counterpunch for them to step the game up. So we'll see how that works out. Thank you for watching, and always remember to live your tech world in high definition.